Hello, how are you? So, see, look, I writing this myself. I was going to write this before the cameras, but I'm writing. See, look, I know how to write. Look, I'll do this. I write. Look, Ellie. Look. You see how quick? I just write it right here from my mind. No need to copy, no need to paste anything. So I'm gonna finish now. Legroup, USA, slate, very big letters, slate. Oh, this is English. I know that without nobody telling me. I'm not even checking my phone. Oh, Ardesia, it's in Italian. Ardesia. What type of Brazilian Portuguese do you want? The one from Belo Horizonte, Minas Gerais, the one from Rio de Janeiro, the one from the south, the one from Portugal? Okay, the one from Minas Gerais, Ardósia. Ardósia de Belo Horizonte, Minas Gerais. Eles falam desse jeito. É porque é Belo Horizonte, é Minas Gerais. E pagar, gente, povo de Belo Horizonte, eles são famosos por um motivo. Na hora do pagamento, é aquele problema. Pagamento, dinheiro. Na hora de pagar dinheiro com Belo Horizonte, com Minas Gerais, socorro, tem que pagar, tem que pagar. So this is our joke, and the Portuguese speaking world, people from Minas Gerais, from Belo Horizonte, where this lake comes from, they're famous, okay? Not only in Brazil, but also by the American embassies. Every time somebody from Brazil is applying for a visa to go to the USA, and they come from the state of Minas Gerais, there's a red flag, like red flag. Because it's a state that they're like this. They have a problem with money there. So it's called Ardósia. Ardósia. That causes a lot of confusions. Ardósia. Ardósia is slate in Brazilian English, also in Portugal, Ardósia. So, I was served today with public document. It was written by one of the defendants of the case of slate. Okay, this defendant, he wrote on a public record a lot of lies and assumptions against my person, against my business, against what I do, and justifying on the public instrument that she understands that, I don't know, that she has nothing to do with this, that she has nothing to do with this and everything. So the reason that I'm writing again, this is a video, it's being registered. I'm wrapping up 2019, okay? This is December. Again, I put my watch here because everything needs to be documented and try to be as genuine as possible, because to fight the global false news. So this is the time here. Any proper investigator can really read there. This is a watch that I purchased in Fort Lauderdale in the USA, where I have my office in the USA. At this moment, I am in Europe, in my office in Europe, in Ireland, okay? So Legroup is based in the USA and in Ireland as a company. And myself, I'm based in different countries, but the business is in 2 countries. The thing is, I just want to make clear that we're wrapping up 2019, and then we're wrapping up 2019 for 1 month now. I thought it would be quick. It's not going to be quick. And so it's been 1 month now, and this is December the 7th, and then I start to wrapping up like in November the 7th, and we try to go by all the cases I have. And then this is one of them. This late is one of them, and I'll show you. Okay, here is all the library here. So this is where I work almost every day, and all of this is all paperwork. This mountain here, maybe you can do it quick so you can see lawsuits. They're all full. There's lawsuits. Okay, lawsuits. There is more lawsuits. This is more paperwork and lawsuits. And I'm going to keep telling you because this is Saturday, okay? And I should be enjoying my holidays. And I am not. Now I came to a point that I'm asking favors. Yes, I'm asking favors. I'm the guy who creates millions of dollars on business, and I'm depending on favors. I'm asking favors to people, and I've been one full year talking to police officers, attorneys, all sorts of investors, clients, because they want to know. They come to me like tuna, okay? I do tuna. This is the tuna, okay? I have a client who wants to buy $2.5 million of this tuna, and they're like, okay, so come meet me tomorrow in Bangkok. Or so. Oh, I'm sorry. Is that okay if you pay my ticket? And you're like, pay what? Oh, yeah, the thing is, Ellen Gerber, she lives in Texas, and she just wrote a public document explaining about me this. So, and then there's somebody else that like I have bills to pay myself. This is December. I have to pay rent. I have to pay employees. I have to pay my personal bills. I have to explain that Michelle Moore, she works for Watson's Louisville, which now is not Watson's Louisville anymore. Now it's HHS of Louisville. It's a new name. It's just a facade. Our Watson's is just a facade. The company is called HHS, but they still use the banners with Watson's, which is a big red flag. And other things that are coming out, the more we investigate, it's like it just gets more difficult. And then it happens that this company, Michelle, she told somebody who's helping us that they were paying their bill like 3 weeks ago. We have spent this entire week trying to contact them. They just don't answer the calls. I even hired the services of a public relationship specialist. This girl, and I was present. That's why I really get mad, because sometimes some like Cassandra, she's been making calls, and then she tells me like I can't believe this is true, but this was also in my face. I saw this girl calling, and it took me about 30 minutes to explain to her, so that well 1 hour of work, okay, and she makes the call from my American phone, which is this one, okay. You see, it says Legroup there on the back, okay. It says here too. Look. It says here too, and we're surprised. Best price. We're surprised. Oh, this picture is taken in Nebraska. The picture there. Look, I'm surprised that they send her to a voicemail. So one more voicemail. There's emails. There's one more voicemail. Just a voicemail. They're enjoying the benefits of $1.5 million contract, probably renewed. Now I believe we will be talking about $3 million. And the person who created the whole thing, no, we just dump him to a voicemail. Then this voicemail, she says that she's on holidays. But then I'm like, I think we need a psychiatrist here now, because it's like it's in a machine who answered. And this machine is saying that she's on holidays, but she will be back on the 2nd. But today is the 6th. So she says that she's on the 2nd, but then it's the 6th, and then she doesn't. And then we leave a voicemail, no response. So that was one case. There was another case which was also very bizarre, which is an email from Dwayne. He's the owner of Watson's Louisville, HHS Louisville now. And then on this email that he writes, that he says that Michelle is going to be back on Monday, there is a legal warning in the bottom. And then the legal warning, and this is something, thank you for your comprehension. And there's quite an exclamation mark and a lot. Okay, so I believe on Monday, okay, second, okay, there'll be a payment, okay, so. But now we're investigating, because it's like, no, there was no payment on Monday, and now it's Saturday, and said absolutely no payment. So then we checked, we're reading this, and I was discussing this with other people involved, and I'm like, he says on this disclaimer here on the bottom, something like, if you see that this message is not for you, just delete it or stop reading it or pretend you never read it. And you're like, who wrote that? That's the same as if you're driving and and you go through several intersections, and then there is something that says it's a stop sign from 2 blocks behind. So if you didn't see a stop sign like 3 blocks behind, 3 streets behind, 3 intersections behind, you just go back. What do you mean? What do you mean? I was one thing that we've been telling you, and maybe I'm going to send this to you too, is like uh, some of the attorneys that are involved in this case, they think I was very generous when I offered the termination contract on a civil level, and that was over a year ago. That was a bright, very sophisticated, very genuine, very generous solution. Once my company was being attacked and robbed because my company was looted last year, and I offered to the main defendants now, which is the prosecutors of those criminal activities, option to do a civil agreement. That I accept that I'm being robbed. I accept that you guys are stealing my business. I accept, but at least pay for the current bills. So I sent to them this termination contract with a proposal, and they are such a bad people, and they're so criminals, sociopaths, psychopaths, whatever name you give to this, that they do not even do that. Even worse, for over 1.5 years, they keep fooling around and playing games against me instead of just paying their bill. And so what I want you guys to understand is that the case is much worse now. And you guys were serviced with free consultancy. You guys were for service from my side. I gave to you, and then now you have all of this, and you took the decision not to pay for the bill because you thought, it's $47,000. Like, why should I pay? I can't just send an email saying that you read this email and you just say that you do not, and I'm good to go. I can't just contact the Better Business Bureau and tell them that Augustin is this, and that's it. No, that's not it. That's not it. Okay, that's just the beginning of it. It's going to get much worse. And once again, this case is blocked and stopped on the invoices that you guys did not pay. Okay? Because that was an agreement, and I'm still for over 1 year waiting for a response for the agreement, and all I got was funny jokes, funny stories, but no payment, no termination. And also, I'm an international sales guy. I work all over the world. Just in the case of slates, that was Italy, Brazil, and America, and I was the export manager for the entire group. So I was the one who established the whole thing for Doimo, Arata, and Jack Phillips, and that was in 2004. So even the invoices that everybody's used, the packing list that GRUPO MINAR, the websites the GRUPO MINAR uses, they were created by me. That's English. Alexandra did not speak English 15 years ago. I teach English to him. Brian Phillips, I work with his father. A lot of what Brian Phillips do, I explain to him how to do it. I know he does business in Asia and everything, but it comes to Brazil, I did that because I was the one organizing and doing and executing the trade shows in Las Vegas, 2003, 2004. Because I speak Italian, English, Spanish, Portuguese. I have legal status in the USA, in Brazil, in America, in Italy, in Argentina, in Ireland. And so that's just the slate, and there's more. I can talk about this for like maybe 5 hours. 5 hours. And I'm sick. I'm sick of this. It's like, so I accept it. And something that then there's this ping pong. There's this ping pong between the American group and the Brazilian group. This ping pong, okay? Oh, and not because Brazil has to pay. No, I do not have to pay. Brian Phillips made it clear. My position was on the side of GRUPO MINAR for 2 years since they hired me in February 2017 and everything. I was even opening the Vietnam market. I was opening the Bangkok, the Thailand market. I sold to him in Thailand. I was doing the United Kingdom. Today, I assume we'll be doing about $6 to $7 million of sales, but they took the decision, to steal whatever they had and try to do it themselves. That decision was taken July or September last year. On that period, Brian Phillips was serviced with the problems I was having in Dublin, Ireland. And everybody knows that, and do not try to say you didn't, because you do know, everybody do know that in June and July 2018, my company was attacked by drug dealers. So Irish drug dealers, they attacked my company. That's why all these cases, and even Brian Phillips, Anthony Pucci, that's a big red flag, because he was the first person to really, on the general point of view, to join the drug dealers in Ireland at some point, because they were serviced and they knew, and Brian Phillips knew I was being attacked by drug dealers and my office in Ireland. And physical attacks, that the police was involved, that there were officers, that there were 3 officers in my office in Dublin, and all that I had health problems because of that I had to be away from the business for 2-3 weeks. But even though Brian Phillips with Anthony Pucci and Alexandra, they overpowered me and they took the decision to do the opposite. I have text messages from Brian Phillips that I'm telling him having this problem, something, and they just say, okay, so when do you send the next report? Like, kind of, I'm just telling you that I'm being attacked, that I have all these problems. Brian Phillips, he was serviced with about 44-page document with all sorts of documents from insurance company in America, from drafts about what the attacks I had. One of the attacks was even physically. I was driving my car, and then an Italian girl in Dublin, she just blocked my passage on the street and everything. Why I was attacked? Because I have money, because I sell. If I'm somebody who sells, this is 1.5 million that I sell on Slate. I also sell like 20 million of rice, 10 million on tuna. I have all the rice business. I have the tuna. I have this. This is a bag of rice. I ship lots of it to Africa, especially, and I do business in Thailand. And my company was attacked from every side. And then we have the reactions. Okay, so then the reactions, and then we had the reactions of Brian Phillips. And then is when Brian Phillips, it was so crazy that on the growth of the business, I even hired Kyle Howard, that he lives in Houston. He speaks Portuguese and English. He does logistics. He was referred to me by the American Embassy in Rio de Janeiro and the American Chamber of Commerce there. And then we go, and then I hired this man and established, now we're talking about $3-4 million business a year, because there was Brunswick was another account. And then I'm overpowered. And then Brian Phillips, that's when we came to this determination of agreement, is when Brian Phillips, on behalf of Presidential Billiards, SCIOTO Valley, American Heritage, Watson's, he states, and even was printed as part of all the documentation of the lawsuits, that on behalf of all the clients, he requested the contract to be terminated with Augustin. Then is when, okay, so now it's not only Alexandra, it's also the clients. Okay, that's why I accept. At some stage, I just accept, I'm out, so please pay the bill. And then he comes, what bill? And that's what did Alexandra didn't tell you? I mean, you guys have invoices and spreadsheets. I mean, the spreadsheet that I've been mailing. I mean, Brian Phillips have received that spreadsheet for maybe one year. I mean, Brian Phillips will go to Las Vegas with my own money. Brazilians, they don't pay. This is Minas Gerais. This is Ardós. Ardós de Belo Horizonte, Minas Gerais. They just don't pay. And I was using my own money to fund Brian Phillips' trips to Las Vegas. I was paying him in advance. I was instructing with the Brazilian guy to send his agreed payment, which was delayed, and he would even deduct his bank fees, because he agreed to pay $345, and then I would receive $319, and then I'll have to call him and have a meeting to discuss this $20. That will cost me maybe 4 hours of conversation, and then I would say, and then Brian Phillips needs to, okay, you're covered, just go there and do this. And then at some point, they overpowered me, they took the decision to kick me out. So then, that's a bill. And then And then everybody is like wondering what's going on in the USA. But I don't say USA because we have problems with other countries like Ireland. The United Kingdom is always also very rough. The problems are like everywhere. Brazil, like forget about it. So Thailand, it is a rough time in history in general for the legal banking system and the bureaucracy. It's very rough, and we are in the recession for 20 years. It's called the deep recession. It started after 9/11, so it's 20 years of deep recession. So, but still, they're serviced with a contract that just says termination contract and transfer to Brian Phillips. I'm doing what they chose to do. It was not me. That was Brian Phillips, Alexandra, Anthony Pucci. Because Anthony Pucci was in frequent conversations with Alexandra and Brian, but since like July, there's deep conversation, like lots of, and they were copying me, and there was this 100 emails about Anthony Pucci talking about shipments and stuff, like. And then they expressed that they didn't need me anymore, and then there is the fees, and then transference of contract. It's very clear. I agree, and then I'm transferring the contract. My agreement of that's a $47,000. It's not big money. $47,000 for $1.5 million. That's not big money, and also that's the termination and the transference of the contract to Brian Phillips. He requested the contract. He's buying the contract. Alexandra says that he wants to concentrate all his business with Brian Phillips. And then I say, okay, so I'm out. This is the cost, and you pay, and we move on. No, it's not. No, there is defamation, there's slandering, there's fraud, there's like lies and everything keeps getting going on and on and on and on. And now I'm here trying to do what? Answering like it's just ridiculous. It's public. It's a document. That's our Better Business Bureau, which it's there in Texas. That's just so. At some point, it's going to be released to the public. The whole thing, like the accusations and my answers, is just like bizarre. There are questions like on the fraud that I've been sending emails to the entire industry of the whole world and stuff like that. No, it's not. It's just the accounts that they were. All those emails there, they are direct involved with the case. The attorney is the same thing. They're all attorneys that they know. It's all documented. These are the words for the Florida courthouse. This is a white collar crime. There is elements of fraud, embezzlement, theft, slandering, defamation. So it is very complicated. That's why the theft. So that's why the case has a lot of different aspects. So I just say you guys just better pay this as soon as possible and terminate this contract. I don't really know. It's just I don't really know what to say. I just think it's a lawsuit that costs maybe me to take it properly. Okay, about $40,000. But as soon as I spend $30,000 on attorneys and procedures and the whole paperwork that has to be done in different jurisdictions, because there's a federal attorney, because it's international. There's attorneys in Brazil. There's documents that need to be legalized and translated to Portuguese and English and the whole thing. And all the history to put it all together. What happens is 1 year and a half. My last contacts with the police is like they want to know the reaction of the attorneys, why the attorneys that didn't take the case. It seems that the big picture is criminal, and so that's why it's a matter of the public safety to really execute the lawsuits against the defendants in Brazil and in the USA. Because I'm a victim, was victim of fraud. It's crime. It's mostly through the internet, cyberspace, but once it goes to that level, we're not talking $47,000. We're talking about $1.5 million. This escalates because this go to over 1 year and a half. It's like 3 years. 2017, 18, 19. It's 3 full years. So whoever thought he was going to save some money, like, you gotta pay, me not pay because it's not, no pay, no talk. That's the new one I've heard from China. No pay, no money, no talk. So it's going to be expensive because we still live in civilization, and for some reason somebody overpowered the whole. I'm talking about the people who did have the power, which is SCIOTO Valley, Presidential Billiards, American Heritage. Watson's, Family Leisure, Brian Phillips, Creative Solutions, GRUPO MINAR, Alexandre Doimo, all of them, they did have conditions to get the problem solved straight away. That over a year and a half ago, but they overpowered and they took the decision to take the risk and do this. And so I do not know. I mean, if somebody goes there to my YouTube, there is presentations about who I am, what do I do, and again, I didn't hire Alexandre Almeida, who was hired by Doimo during the Domo slate by the Italians. They were the manufacturers for this slate to this group when I was hired as well, but I was before him. I was hired before, maybe 6 or maybe 1 year before Alexandre. And so I trained him on the import, I implemented the whole import export, and I was in Las Vegas several times. Some of you may remember me from that time because I would work at the booth with Jack Phillips. I visited even a store in Illinois or Chicago one time, 2004. I went to the book marathon meeting in Delray Beach at the Marriott, it's a hotel that I've been a few times. Dinners at the Palm Beach Hotel. Actually, my office is in Fort Lauderdale. I am in Florida for 10 years now. Yeah, 10 years, because 2010, 2020 is going to be 10 years, Miami area. So I know all the Phillips. I used to have more contact with Christine Phillips, which is the older sister of Brian. Nicole Phillips too was a niece. My brother Lisandro even spent Christmas at Jack's and his wife's house in 2006 or 7. So I know Brian had a problem also very similar to this. Was in 2006. He was embezzled by Elias, which was the guy who was doing what Alexandre does now. He embezzled about, I don't know how much money was that, but it was like 1 or 2 years of commissions, and there was emails all over the place. In my case, it's different, okay, because I do have something that people do not know. Like I have a residence in Brazil. So all the damages and losses that get really bad, because for example, I have an apartment in São Paulo City, which is I rent for since 2004, and I was evicted from this apartment in March or April this year, and it was very violent. I couldn't go to Brazil because I was supposed to be in Brazil last year, but then once the default of this payment, the whole carousel started, and on all the negotiations with Brazilian attorneys and everything, we posted a video on YouTube in Portuguese discussing the whole case with the slate from Brazil to the USA. And there was this strange message in Portuguese, which we do not know, was a false, it was like a false identity over the internet, who wrote on YouTube on this video something like, I'm laughing, kkkk, which is me, I'm laughing, and this guy is crazy, and blah blah blah. But it sounds like Minas Gerais. The language is from the same state, like Minas Gerais in Brazil, and they wrote that, and that was we made all that, we attached all the police reports and everything. We sent that to California for YouTube. So that YouTube could answer to us the location about that account, where is the location of the person, because we want to understand what's behind the scenes, what are people doing over the internet, the whole thing. But anyways, this is the case, and I don't know if if you just go there and check, I do not know what I'm doing this video now. That's why I question, like, why, and it's just a new way of communication, because so many emails, so many videos, documents, letters. That's 7-day demand letters, like from Abu Dhabi, from the Caribbean, from Brazil, which is the new ones that were printed in Brazil. They were notarized, my signature notarized in Brazil, and Portuguese language. There were 7-day demand letters from Tennessee. Okay, I did that physically in person, Tennessee, all sent by registered mail. And then we have like Elaine Gerber from Presidential Billiards, that she just responds. She omits all of that. She does not mention to the authorities that she has legit legal documentation. Her hands claim that she has to pay this, and she's just not responding. So, and now she responds that she just omits all of this. She just mentions emails that are sending over the internet, and that she does also illustrates them with a lot of lies. Like she mentions that I'm saying, if I sell to the entire industry, if you use those words, well, I have about what it's like 40 accounts. Check all the accounts there. All of them, they all come from this business. Everybody in those emails, they're all directly related for this business. The High Point Market authorities. Why? I mean, I do business there. I am his client. I did two trade shows with them. And also the advertising too, with the BCA magazine and the whole thing. When we were restructuring this, I did contact them. Why did we hire Brian Phillips? Because BCA does not have any presence, and Brian Phillips told us that BCA is no longer there. It's a stupid show. Nobody goes there anymore. And then but we wanted to do the BCA, and also nobody wants to pay for anything, which is another problem nowadays. It's all about price, cost. Nobody wants to pay for any trade show. If anybody remembers me, during the Domus Late at the BCA Las Vegas, and I was in Las Vegas last year again, I'm the one who called the police of the security of the BCA show, because I had imposters selling slaves there. Because we were there with the trade show like this. This is all commercial. This costs money. This is look. I'm in the main row here. You can see that. This is the city center. This is shops and stores. So that all of this costs. And if you have your own furniture store and slate, whatever, it has costs. So if somebody goes and starts selling billiard pool tables just across the street from you with no license, with no visas, with nothing. They just have the billiard pool table just next door to you, and they sell cheaper. They don't pay for anybody. Would you be happy with that? So why do you believe that I shouldn't be paid? I mean, why? And that happened in the BCA. On that show, we spent about $40,000. It was mostly all Italian money, and we spent $40,000 to be in Las Vegas at the BCA. And then there were like Brazilian competitors that would be with their backpack and samples. And then I have clients that will come back to me saying that they have the price like $2 cheaper a slab. And they're like, but how? Oh, it's from Brazil, but how? We're the only ones here that produce in Brazil. Like, who? Oh, it's a guy. And like, oh, here at the trade show? Yes. And like, who? Oh, that guy? Yeah, because I knew him. So I called the security. I point out and I said, it's that guy there. And then they went there. And he was evicted from the BCA show. He was out for 4 days or something, because he's another guy. He says a visitor. He's not. He's an exhibitor. He's just not paying, and he's offering everything $2 cheaper because he's not paying for the $40,000 and also the work to do a trade show is like 6 months of work and transportation and assembling and the whole thing. So that's one thing. Another thing is also that with one thing. This is one case. Once this case is finished, because it's not, and I'm waiting for this case to finish. Okay, I do this for 26. I'm a sales guy for 26 years. So commissions and payments is always the same thing. It's the nasty part of the business. So no, you hire, you pay. Okay, and the other thing is for the new projects is like I don't care. But we are in negotiations with Italy. It's to find a solution to bring civilization back, which means to do something civilized and normal, that we can just do normal stuff with education and normal, that we just pay and say thank you. This is just not worth the hassle. This is not worth the hassle. Before 1 full year, this case is public. This is going to be, it's going to be public. I mean, this is a case, okay? I received a letter from Washington. It's the Department of Federal Trade Commission, because my company was looted last year. So I have problems also with Thailand. I have problems with Portugal, and I have problems also with Thailand, the tuna. Brazil, the slates, and Texas. Texas is the worst of all. It's a distributor of cheese in Texas and the manufacturer in Wisconsin. Their case is very rough. because that was about $10 million. Their bill is $100,000, and the police was called straight away. That was October last year. Their case is rough, very rough, and the only thing is that we think like how to bring the civilization back. It's just maybe we need to really forget this price mentality and just bring some manners and some basics back on stage. And that means those classes everybody likes, and commerce and sales. This is business to business, so there is a lot of elements they can't be erased. It's just not working. And the internet is just not really helping anybody. It's just making things more complicated. But that's something else, which is what we call in the Ardesia di Genova, Ardesia genovese, che è un'altra cosa che stiamo a discutere probabilmente in pochi mesi, non so. But we're stuck on this, now waiting for this case to be closed. And just deleting emails, just ignoring. There is somebody who but not read, and then we're like, oh my god, not read. That means I have to really print the whole package and send this by post. And then I'm known in the post office. Oh, Augustin, you here? I know they didn't pay. Everybody knows my case, and they're like, yeah, oh yeah, I'm a sales guy. They ask me, I'm in the market, in the public. They're like, well, why you don't, where are you? Why are you doing? Oh yeah, that person did not pay. And they're like, so like, and then, so yeah, they just, but not read. Like, anyways, I don't know really what sort of attorneys you hired. The only thing is that at some point you need to share the bill with them. You need to tell them to pay with you. It's not my fault. You're the one. I offer the consultancy for free. It's not for free, I'm telling you, it was included in the price, because I was like $47,000, just pay and I'm gone. That was an official termination contract. And like, there is even like a demand like that. It says, if you pay this, you do not even need to talk to me. You just forget my existence. You just pay it, and like this, you would never ever hear about me. And then like, no, they didn't pay. And then they went to talk to a defense attorney saying, and they're like, oh, it's 47. I think that happened. Let's finish with this. André Marques is the defense attorney for Alexandre Vargas. And this guy, and I've been to this before because I've done business. That's where I filed a complaint at the OAB Minas Gerais, which is the discipline, or it's the order of the attorneys of Brazil. The Minas Gerais is the entity that regulates all the works of the attorneys in Brazil. And so I sent to them a formal complaint, which refers to André Marques, and like, because it's been 1 year, nobody pays for anything, and now we're going back through all the paperwork and how the whole thing started, and then we're building up all the files and everything to try to close the case. This man sent his letter like in a week or two, like even like was a few days after the invoice was sent, and basically stating a lot of things. And that now it's fully reported. He was warned in October that we were going to report him for this. He took the decision not to respond. So now it's reported. So now it's in this OAB there was reported. So because the whole thing is fraud, and also there's threats, and it's because you can. I'm sorry, this is more free consultancy, okay, or it's included in the bill, okay, like because I'm a generous man and I want this to be done. I don't want to be forever with these things. And these defense attorneys, they cannot try to make a crime void, if you guys understand. They cannot say you didn't steal, because that's the big. What are the $47,000? Are in my pocket? I mean, I can't tell. No, there's not. This is not 47,000. This is like 200 pounds, Irish pounds actually. If somebody doesn't know, look, Bank of Ireland. Somebody's curious. Look, Bank of Ireland, Irish pounds. Look. So, so this is not 47,000. 47,000 would be like a mountain, like this. It's, you see, no, it's not $47,000. Where are they? Are those 47,000s? They're not in the victims. So where are they? Oh, that has to be busted. So Watson's Presidential American Heritage, um, they have to be busted. On that point, they need to understand the payments, what transactions, creative solutions. There was a criminal activity, which is Alexandra Vargas made wire transfers to Brian Phillips in January, or without my approval, without my request, and from Brazil direct to him and the USA, and so that was another suspicious activity that was done in this. But then it's like, where is this in the whole? Um, there was confirmation that, for example, Elaine Gerber, she conducted about $300,000 business with them, but on my report was 250. But then it's or less, but that was before by the time whatever. But then I need to really do the busting and understand what's the whole case. At the same time, whatever happens after the termination, it's not my responsibility. I made my mission. I worked for 2 years. I from 0 to 1.5 million, 47,000. That's whatever took the decision not to pay that and keep it going. Like was not my decision. So that's the different elements, okay. But then as there are criminal activities that were conducted in order to justify as an alibi, whatever, not to pay. But then the defense attorneys, the only thing they can do is just to make your punishment softer, to make your punishment softer. Anything else you guys do, changing companies' names, whatever, saying that you have you have this, you have whatever, then it's a legal matter, whatever. But this is the only thing, is how to reduce the sentence. Like, instead of being for 20 years in jail, you are for 2 years. Instead of paying, because by law, for example, the general aspect of this is embezzlement, and that's $47,000 is the amount of my markup, but 1.5 million is the entire contract. So the motives that made Anthony Pucci, Brian Phillips, and Alexandra Vargas be so aggressive, so violent against me, was for the 1.5 million. And then is when it comes by, maybe it's American Heritage who wanted to do that. That the Watsons was Elaine Gerber, Anthony Pucci, Dwayne Hunt. Who was the orchestrator? Who was the one who was orchestrating? Or it's just Brian Phillips? There was somebody, but on the message of Brian Phillips, he mentions that it's Anthony Pucci who's requesting, and then it's like, oh, so they probably want to take the entire contract from Legroup. So it's 1.5 million the dispute, and then is when the things get more complicated, because then it needs to be investigated, like why they wanted the entire contract, and how the methods they were using, like sabotage, defamation, slandering. Then this is just gets complicated, because everybody needs to really identify the evidences and the whole thing. But I'm just saying, but not denying or just saying that that I do not exist, that all the lies and the whole thing, it just getting worse, just makes it worse for you, because it just proves, especially now after 1 year, that this was orchestrated, that this was premeditated, and very likely Elaine, Anthony, Dwayne, they have done this before with different people in the market. There's probably other suppliers that were also victims of similar actions against, because this does not seem like this was done for the first time. This is not. This is something that has been recurrent and probably already done before, and that's the whole thing. Okay, so I guess I get all the questions are maybe answered, and we keep talking and I'm waiting. Okay, I check my account all the time. I say, where is the payment, and where is the payment? We are at the same time now we're doing the divorce, which is Brazil here, USA there, because we're trying to really, and now it's being that there is bad problems on both sides, and it's getting complicated, and So we just something that you guys don't know, but with all the problems, we contacted the Brazilian embassy in Washington. We contacted the Brazilian embassy in Portugal. We contacted the Secretary Attorney of State in Florida. There's a lot of institutions. Everybody's on our side. They just say, move ahead. We want to see this case closed. The police officers, I wouldn't say the entire police institution, but the police, the direct officers that we report these crimes to them. I mean, they say, "Oh, just rob it," because they see similar. A lot of people fantasize that white collar is different than the standard crimes. They're all the same. It's just more complicated to understand what was stolen, and usually the figures are higher, and then you need to pay for that with something else. Maybe I can get like a car or something as a payment, but it's not that they're returning a car that they robbed. I didn't have any car. It's just because it was intellectual property, contacts, businesses, payments, and then there's the damages and losses. Like my business, my cash flow, my working capital was all compromised. I was shipping about $2 million of this rice from Portugal, and the payment didn't came. And that was in January, December, and I was sending more messages. That's when I was in Portugal. There's messages to Anthony Pucci Bryan that were sent from Portugal. I was there closing new businesses, and they didn't pay, and the payment was not processed. So then I had to do down payments for new orders, and that was like this avalanche domino effect that affected and I have a $20 million business, at least. So then it's like, when you really go into damages and losses, the actions of the slave people, for example, that produced losses of what, $10-20 million and stuff, because I have a lot of other business, and I have this domino effect and everybody working in circles. Personal problems, okay, I have traumas. I have big traumas because my company was looted, okay, that's the big criminal aspect, because once these drug dealers attacked my business, and I have one computer that was destroyed. I was blocked on the street. I have of my car obstruction. I have other problems, and there were 3 police officers in my office in Dublin. That was June last year. I went to the American embassy, prepared proper paperwork and documentation about this, and since then, and with the reactions of what I call now defendants, because that's the biggest problem, because the gangsters in Dublin was solved, because my concern was not to be attacked physically. I was afraid of even being murdered, and then that kind of was controlled, and that was fine. So, but the companies like Alexandre Vargas, Brian Phillips, Anthony Pucci, especially, because these are the 3 we were talking more frequent all the time. And also Valaili Psakokal, which is the producer of this. There's also Fayed, was a client in Egypt. There is also Yuchana, the producer of the tuna in Thailand. There's also Jamie Williams, was a horror show. Jamie Williams and now Ellen Gerber. I am sorry, but I had accusations. They were even using my citizenship status in the USA as a reason to steal. They did that. That was done behind the scenes or something, and that was exposed on the meeting. This man serves $10 million sales of cheese. 6 years of my work. Once I had a problem, he did say that to me, face to face. Oh, you're not even an American citizen. It's like, I do not even want to talk about it. I don't even want to talk about it. Because on a political, I'm not a politician there, because I'm not an American citizen. So I can't, but anything politics. But on a business point of view, I can be considered higher than an American citizen, because I'm a foreigner, I'm an investor. I'm somebody who started a business in the USA to give jobs to American citizens. And I employ people that they have problems with drugs. I employ people that they're jobless. I give a lot, and I pay everybody. I don't do these games. I don't ask anybody if they're American citizen or not. It does not mean that I hire illegal people. It means that once I'm doing business and then I say, oh, thank you, I can't. but I give the opportunity. There was a guy, he was from Peru. I thought he was legal, whatever. I'm not. But then once I was hiring him. My office in Florida is inside Port Everglades. That's also, it's at the foreign trade zone, so it's a federal. There's Border Patrol, U.S. Customs, the Exim Bank, everybody there. You know, it's right at the port where the cruise ships and the tanks, a lot of oil and tanks, they're shipped out of Port Everglades in Florida. If you read the paperwork, it says Port Everglades. Just go and check on the map what's Port Everglades. There's tanks of millions of gallons of petrol and oil and gas and everything there, and all the most massive and biggest cruise ships of the whole world, they leave from there, and my office is there. And then this guy go to the border patrol to fill his paperwork, and he said, "Oh, can I write here that I was born in Miami?" I'm like, "Well, you're not legal, whatever." I don't know. He didn't answer my question. He just didn't came the next day. But anyways, I'm an investor. I'm the one who gives. And there's articles there. I think there's massive amount of documentations that even like this article that was made about the BRICO magazine in Miami in 2011 when I started my business there. I was sponsored by the Brazilian promotion agency, which is, they feel very frustrated with all of this. They feel very frustrated because it's like, wow, all the structure, all the work, everything, you're doing something that everybody expects, and this is the result. Police reports, people in jail, people paying, because it's a jail case, it's arresting. It's busting and arresting. At this stage now, 1 year and a half with constant communication, it's just a matter that's just like, like my position of the police is like, I'm sorry, but what you guys doing? What you guys doing? I have filed reports to the Better Business Bureau. You guys, I do not know. They were warned. We've been on I do not know what's going on in those companies like Watson's. That's fraud. You cannot advertise in public that you offer free shipping. Free shipping is slavery, because shipping means somebody is moving, or you're doing like, did you invent the teleprompter, whatever, like a prompter, how do you call that, telepathy or something, that somebody by magic, and it shows up, whatever. Because I am somebody that works with distribution and shipping, because this is distribution, this is shipping, this is international shipments. It's like, I'm not getting paid. I have the invoice for over a year there. Like, they just don't pay. They just ignore. So I am the one that does this magic from here to there. Once they're serviced with mountains of documentation and paperwork, and I say that there is somebody asking for payment, that has been it's already a public document, a BBB, that just like these companies are explaining this to the retail, to the end user, to the end customer, but they're just not paying. And here's all the paperwork. This is fraud. They're giving donations to people, but with other people's money. And that's not. There's nothing that I said that my work is for free. I never say that. If it's for free, I'll be selling like 1 billion metric tons of rice all over the world. If it's just to go giving rice to everybody. If it's for free, I'll be shipping like mountains of rice. And if it's free, I want to go get a beer pool table for free too. I mean, but okay, so let's close this slate out of Dacia, and see how this thing goes. Okay, so it is what it is.